Welcome back. New York City seemingly at a crossroads after Tuesday's Democrat primary race. Self-proclaimed Democrat socialist Zohran Mamdani's agenda calls for taxing the wealthy, freezing rents, pouring billions of dollars into public housing and city-run services, including grocery stores. This now becoming a clash of ideologies, capitalism versus socialism. And now major donors are scrambling to back anybody but Mamdani, with Wall Street clearly watching closely. The financial capital of the world, New York. Joining me now is the former chairman and CEO of the New York Stock Exchange, arguably the face of capitalism. Dick Grasso is with us. Dick, it's great to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for being here.
Maria, it's always great to be with you. This is a face that needs a little work, I would say.
No. Let me ask you what your thoughts are after the primary when Mamdani won. He is now going to be the Democrat candidate come November for the mayor's election.
Well, start at the top of the considerations. I think you and I, being dyed-in-the-wool capitalists, Maria, understand that the only thing free in this world is air. So all of the menu items that the assemblyman talks about, free bus rides, free daycare, it's a menu that's long and bears enormous costs to someone. And that someone will be taxpayers in New York. I think the good news is very quickly, centrist Democrats led by the governor of New York has said quite firmly, there will be no new taxes on New Yorkers, starting with the financial community, which is 24% of New York's GDP. If he tries to impose penalties via taxation on the financial community, there are cities around the U.S., starting with Miami, that will welcome with open arms and with the proper incentives and partnerships all of those great financial institutions that you and I have come to know to be the nucleus, not just of capitalism in the United States, but global capitalism. I think it's very important for people to understand that one of the principles that you hear talked about in the primary campaign is the issue of public safety. Look back at the history, of some of the Democrat socialists talking of replacing police officers with social workers. Well, my only question about that would be, will a social worker be prepared to face an armed robber, and talk that person out of doing a misdeed? Come on, we've got to get serious. To start with the revitalization and rebirth of New York City, we need safe streets. Safe streets start with supporting our cops, resourcing them properly, and making certain that the judicial system doesn't become a turnstile for recidivism, I think when you get a safe community, Maria, everything else falls out from under it, whether it's commerce, culture, the ability of people to raise their kids and walk them to school in the local neighborhood. We need a return of law and order in the city of New York. I think you have two candidates that will oppose Assemblyman Mamdani in the general that are of policing background. Either one of them will tell you, if you sit down with them, which I hope you will, Maria, we start with a great police force, properly resourced and properly supported by the community.
Well, that's right, because it all starts with security. If you feel secure about yourself, your family, then you will have optimism and you'll spend money and you will invest in the city. And that, of course, will bring economic activity. We did speak with Curtis Sliwa this morning. He was on the show in the last hour, and he made the case. He said, look, I know New York City and I know security. Of course, Eric Adams as well. What do you think of Bill Ackman's plan? He says, look, we got to get against Mamdani. He said he will fund a campaign for anybody who steps forward, $100 million, he's saying. I mean, when you look at the agenda of Mamdani and you compare it, socialist agenda versus capitalist agenda, anybody can understand what we're saying here. Why is it that these younger people do not understand the impact of socialism? Because I know it starts with security, but then you've also got to consider the economic issues.
Maria, I think the difficulty is a lot of these young folks in our community, okay, have been the subject of an academic system, okay, that has, in essence, brainwashed them, okay? Show me a model around the world of socialism that's worked. Start with Venezuela, one of the richest countries on earth when oil, became their primary tool. Today, Venezuela is, on the steps of the bankruptcy court. You look at other countries in Latin America. Socialism only works when it is funded by other people's money, and when that resource is expended, socialism fails. Maria, I grew up in a very blue-collar, neighborhood in Queens, Jackson Heights and Corona, which happens to be the most diverse ethnically congressional district in the country, all right? People in that district are yearning for job creation, and they are, although they wouldn't say this, they are capitalists, okay? Capitalists in the sense that they work hard, they want to achieve, not just for themselves, but to build a better life for their kids and their grandkids. They want the things that 100 years ago, immigrants to this country, my family, when they came and lived in Lower Manhattan, in that part of Lower Manhattan where the Italian community couldn't afford to live in Little Italy, they lived in what is now Soho, okay? But they were capitalists.
Yeah.
3 union members that helped raise me, okay, were given the choice, on the clock or on the piece. They said, we'll take peace because the more we produce, the more we earn. That's the spirit of New Yorkers. That's the spirit of America. Produce and earn and make a better life for your kids. This nonsense about everything can be free is a page out of the famous Broadway show, The Producers, okay?
Yeah.
It's just not real.
Well, it's a great point. And by the way, Mamdani is riding on this campaign to make things affordable in New York. Guess what? Donald Trump already did that. We just got the PCE index crossing the tape right now. Dick, stay with us. Hold on.